Hey there, gang. I'm Danny J.
I'm Trevor D.
I'm Joe Vasky.
And together we are...
Keep on talking.
We're coming to you without our homie Joel today.
That felt so weird without the Joel laugh.
I did too. Yeah, no, that's why I mentioned it right the fuck away. Well, Joel, this video has been, obviously it's late if you're watching it, even when it came out. We've been having so many technical difficulties this week, but we think we got it with this one. Hopefully people are watching it.
Yeah, if you're not seeing it, we didn't get it.
We didn't get it. Yeah, if you don't see it, we didn't get it.
There's a number of those in not in existence. We've deleted a lot of stuff.
We've deleted a lot of stuff. And Joel, this is like the third time we've tried it. So he did the first two, but he couldn't come to the third one. So, yeah. So it's going to be the three of us today. Sorry, guys.
Sorry.
Sorry. Well, let's get right into it. This is we've talked about this episode a whole lot now. This is episode 5 of season 2 of The Rings of Power.
Halls of Stone.
Halls of Stone. That's right, guys. Halls of Stone, and that's the reference to the Rings poem, right?
Yep.
7 for the dwarf lords and their halls of stone.
And their halls of stone.
That's right.
And I mean, it kind of starts off with the rings.
Straight up. Yeah, we got Durin. Old Durin is getting. He's got a handful of rings, right? He's got 7 of them, in fact.
And he reaches his hand for the biggest gem.
The biggest baddie of them, right?
Of course, he gets his pick of the litter.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I thought the rings looked cool.
The rings do look cool. The only thing I have a problem with is that a lot of them have uncut gems on them, which look cool. It's like a natural beauty kind of thing. But the whole thing about the Noldor was that their specialty was the cutting and shaping of gems. So, like, I don't know if it's a work of both the Noldor and, I feel like it would have some really finely shaped gems. But, I mean, they're not ugly or anything. I just feel like they're a little bit lore inaccurate, but they're cool.
It's a cool lore tidbit.
I like that a couple of them didn't have gems.
Yeah.
Actually. There was one kind of, castle top looking one I thought was pretty neat.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's the one you want? We should all... Is Amazon selling these? They should be, if they're not. But yeah, we should get them.
Some of them for sure. If you put it on, it hits somebody. There's penetration happening. It's gonna hurt.
I want to put one of those rings on and just start knocking holes in your wall.
I might do it too, dude.
Right here.
Yeah. Dig here.
I mean, hey, the ring did help Durin know where to put holes in walls.
It's true. I think that's why he was.
Yeah, that's basically what this opening scene is. It's Durin just being like, "Hey, listen to me, guys."
True. Yeah. So he's using his ring. And he's saying, "Listen to me. We're gonna dig here." At first, nobody thinks, or he starts digging himself because nobody will dig on the load-bearing wall or whatever.
Yeah, they're like, "You're gonna bring down the mountain,"
and he's
Durin.
like, "Fuck y'all," and he just does it anyway. But turns out he gets the sun. Boom! Right, the sunlight comes.
He didn't
through.
have to go very far either.
No, yeah.
It's like, how did you guys not find this?
I love
already?
that. I have in my notes that when he says, "When I say you dig, you say how deep," right? Like my grandma used to say, "When I say you jump, you say how high." Right?
How high? Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. So yeah.
Yeah. He said, "Well, you do it."
Yeah.
But yes.
Yeah.
Durin has like a quick heel turn into being an asshole, like right after he puts the ring on.
Like he kind of even more of an asshole.
Well, yeah, he's kind of
already
always
kind of a prick. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's an extra big prick now.
Yeah.
He gives a fun speech right after, though.
Yeah, the speech is cool. The speech is cool. We talked about this when Joel was here. We talked about how we feel, Joel and I think you guys as well, after we had explained it, feel that the corrupting influence of the Dwarven rings is all wrong.
Yeah, it seems pretty weird.
It's too much like the One Ring, and I think that's just a cheap callback, which me and Joel, we talk about all the time, right? Cheap callbacks to the trilogy. But yeah, the Dwarven rings really, the thing about them is they didn't affect the dwarves all that much.
Yeah, they were naturally greedy.
Well, they were already kind of greedy. It just gave them more means to be greedier.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, he is pretty greedy.
Yeah, dude, later on the 1-to-1 tax or whatever, that's revolution taxes, you guys.
Yeah, I don't know how the dwarves aren't.
We do also get a little Narvi, too.
Yeah, let's talk about Narvi for a second. So that was another thing we talked about with the dwarf stuff. I got to bring the dwarf stuff up because Joel's not here, right?
Yeah.
Narvi Narvi is an important character in the show, but not in the same way he is in the text, right? He's a good friend of Celebrimbor's. They establish a huge relationship between the two kingdoms, right? Or the two Eregian's not a kingdom. But the two states, or whatever.
Sure, yeah, states works.
Realms. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. Realms. But yeah, and they make the Doors of Durin together, right? And that's kind of like they kind of downplay all of that in the show, and in the reveal of the Doors of Durin, I think, was lackluster at best.
It was pretty silly, if you
Silly.
ask me.
Yeah, you thought it was silly.
Like, they show, like, previous episode, when Celebrimbor first put together the stuff, and he's like, he takes it out to a balcony, and there's a moonlight, and it glows, and, you know,
Ithildine, by the way, is what you're talking about.
yeah.
Ithildine.
Yeah. And they reveal the doors, and you can clearly see all the runes and etchings on them
Yeah, just right away.
in the middle of the forge room.
Yep.
Like,
It looked cool though.
yeah, I mean,
It
yeah,
did, but
it
it
looked
was-
cool, but it was supposed to look boring until like moonlight was directly shown on it.
Also, am I the only one that thought that they made that on site? I figured they made the doors down there at the mountain. I didn't think that they made them in Eregion and then schlepped them over to fucking.
I feel like it would have made
Honestly,
more
yeah,
sense.
Wouldn't they do more stone cutting in Dwarven Kingdom?
That's what I always figured, but alas, not the show or the writers.
Also, as someone who didn't really know who Narvi was until this show, I definitely wish we got more of that
More
friendship with
friendship.
Celebrimbor, and because
Like only Gimli and Legolas are the only known dwarf elf relationship that's like as strong or stronger than Narvi and Celebrimbor.
that was such a great part of the original trilogy, was their like relationship and
the
friendship.
odd couple aspect.
And
of
then I
it.
loved when he meets Galadriel. Not to get too into the Fellowship of the
Right,
Ring.
but that's how they have they both. That's a good point that you bring that up, because they both respect each other's cultures through their friendship, and that's very important. And that's exactly what happens in Eregion as well, and that's just totally gone from the show.
Do you think they kind of skipped it because they were like, well, we already have Elrond and Durin? I don't know.
Maybe.
Were they worried that it would be too much elf-dwarf friendship?
I guess. I don't know.
I think that it was just a side story. Like
Yeah.
It was one of those things where it's called Rings of Power. They're trying to focus on Rings of Power, but then, well, people would be pissed if they didn't bring in the Doors of Durin at some point.
Yeah.
But it feels like they didn't do it justice.
No, I thought it was kind of silly. There wasn't much of a build up to it at all, and the friendship of Narvi and Celebrimbor is just not there.
It all seems like it revolves around the rings' existence,
Yeah.
or making them. It doesn't seem like they have really been friends for very long.
Yeah.
One thing I did, getting into the next bit, I did really like in this episode the Anatar and Celebrimbor scenes.
Yeah, the Eregion sequences with Anatar and Celebrimbor are pretty tops.
Even when they're revealing the door, Anatar is just like, you can see he's
Moody-
kind of like
moody
this is
little
yeah,
bitch,
he's like, this
yeah.
is bullshit that you guys are all having a great time. I don't like this.
I don't like it. You all acting like friends and shit. Fuck this. Yeah, that's fucking Sauron. He hates solidarity, man. That's if there's one thing that Sauron hates, it's it's solidarity and camaraderie. Yeah,
Too friendly.
which funny. That's two of my favorite ass things.
They,
Well, he does a good job being deceptive, trying to get around it, though.
Yeah.
And this whole area, this whole scene, I suppose, is the first time we really see Celebrimbor kind of like sussing him out.
That's true. This is when Celebrimbor starts to push back against Anatar.
can I read the quote that he says?
Yeah, go for it.
He says, I love this line. He says, you're sowing seeds in others' minds and then convincing them that the fruit is of their own thought. But I liked how he can like kind of see that he's being played and that Anatar is not really genuine, but Celebrimbor is also like, I think he just loves creating the rings so much and the art and all that it's hard for him to really. He doesn't realize just how played he's being.
Right.
Yeah.
It was kind of like I compare in one of the other recordings we did. I compared it to like Da Vinci working for the Medici family. Like it was like some kind of seedy people you have to rub elbows with to get your art done. And it's just kind of it's not. And he's starting to realize that, Celebrimbor, but he still also wants to bring beauty and light into stuff. So it's like there is that artist allegory to the show, right? That like
I think that's why I like, because I empathize with Celebrimbor, because I'm like, yeah, dude, this is sick. You know, you just gotta compromise a little with this guy, and you can make your art. But
yep.
And you don't know he's evil. Like, he doesn't know he's evil, at least. But I don't know. The fact that he thinks the Rings of Power are complete, and he doesn't want to do anything with men, so he immediately assumes that as soon as Anatar says anything, it's about men.
Yeah.
And of course, I mean, it is.
It is.
He wants to distribute his evil.
Yeah, of course.
yeah. Well, he says the 9 purest of heart men. Is this when he name drops like Baron and all those?
So
other
I want to talk about this. This is where my rant begins.
Ah,
So
Danny's got a rant he's done like a dozen times.
yeah, yep. See if I have the energy for it. Okay, so this show and adaptations in general, starting with and most egregiously the Peter Jackson trilogy, they downplay the role of men and the Dunedain especially, right? Just in general. So the point I wanted to make is that basically the attitude that Celebrimbor has toward the Edain is, I feel, inaccurate. I don't feel that Celebrimbor, after having survived the War of Wrath and seeing them fight and die side by side with elves for ages and ages, I really don't think he would have such a shit opinion of men. And the writers clearly of this and the Peter Jackson trilogy both have a shit opinion of the race of men. And I honestly think it is because, and this honestly makes me really sad, I feel like our society, we can't see ourselves as anything but prone to evil because we live in an evil society.
it's a self-reflection.
Right. We're projecting hard.
Yeah.
So, and this is fantasy, right? I'm of more of that notion in real life, but these are two different things, right? The fantasy and in real life, right? In real life, humans are prone to corruption, blah 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 blah. But also, these are a fantasy race of men that are more faithful, right? Like we said, when men awoke in Hildorian in the first age, right? 80% of them right off the bat worshipped Melkor, not because they were created evil, but because they were easily seduced toward evil, right? They didn't have a natural inclination, but they were pretty easy to go down that road. It wasn't the same thing, right?
Is that like the opposite of how like the dwarves were more resistant to evil? Do you think men are more susceptible to evil then?
I think men are susceptible to listening to people that tell them what they want to hear. So when you tell men that
I'm like that.
Agreed. Me too. So like when Sauron tells men that they can achieve immortality in Numenor, right? They're like, yeah, sick, fuck that. Yeah, like, you know, so it's they're susceptible because men are ambitious and short-lived and kind of impulsive. So like they tend to do things that maybe more wise people wouldn't. I don't think, and I made that in our episode, I think it was 82 and 83, the men episode. I made that point that men are not any more corruptible than elves, really.
Yeah.
Because elves, if you read the Silmarillion, guys, are corruptible as shit,
Yeah,
right?
Plenty of them.
Plenty of elves are corruptible as shit.
I mean, we had kinslayings.
Yeah, 3 of them, in fact.
3 of them.
Yeah. So like, don't let the writers convince you that the Edain are somehow shittier than elves or dwarves or anybody else. Like, there's equal footing because they're all children of Iluvatar and all created from good, from the flame imperishable, right? Right, and they haven't been marred.
Well, and I'd
by
like to think there have to be good men, and there have to stay good men for a long time, because eventually all the elves leave. So if elves are the only good in the world,
And we're
that's
just
not a world I'd want to live
We're
in.
left with shitty management, right? When the elves leave, yeah.
Runaway capitalism.
Yeah, that's what we'd have, yes.
I kind of respected Anatar more, though, because he was the one making the arguments
was the
that
thing.
you're making, which
That-
is kind of funny.
Which is really funny. I agree. I'll tell you. I agree with, I can't remember everything he said, but I agreed with damn near all of it. I felt like somebody should tell the writers of this show what the shit Sauron was saying. He's like, yeah, men do some shitty things, but there's also greatness among men. What about Eärendil and Tuor and Beren, the one-handed, right?
And was it Baron's partner that kicked his ass?
Oh, Luthien? Yeah. Yeah, Luthien's one of the most badass characters ever, right? Yeah. But yeah, the show just continues to shit on the Adine. It spills even worse into the Dunedain, and we can actually get into. You want to get into Numenor next?
Yeah, that is. Yeah,
Might
next
as
scene
well.
is Numenor. Yep, it's our first scene with Farazan in this episode. And he's talking with his son, and they're looking to the horizon, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like giving a whole speech about like the Undying Lands and what have you.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the first time in the show so far that you actually get to see maybe a motivation of Farazan.
Yeah.
Like that it is that they will die and that's unfair.
Right. So yeah, so we think, at least I think, because we did that our Farazan character profile, remember, for
Yeah.
Assholes Throughout the Ages, part 2.
Mm-hmm.
Our Farazan, biggest asshole of the Second Age, for sure. That's why we picked him, right? But he's also not. He doesn't start as an asshole. There's a whole character projection to where he is in the show that is not shown at all. And it would have been very interesting to see a mighty Numenorian man who was raised as a kingsman, but not necessarily evil. And he has great respect for the, if you remember, he had great respect for the faithful because Amandil, who is father of Elendil, not in the show for some fucking reason, they were good friends, right? And relatives. They were cousins, I believe. So, or distant cousins, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, he is a much more complicated character. He's more a product of his time, and they just don't bother to show any of that in the show.
Well, and that's a very that's a very relatable. Like everyone's
Right.
afraid of death. That's like the main thing of man is like death and your legacy and what you're leaving behind. So it's like you can understand why he thinks it's kind of bullshit that like
Of
they
course.
don't that the elves are immortal and I don't know.
Yeah, like it reminds me of the Jim Croce lyric from Time in a Bottle. There never seems to be enough time to do the things that you want to do with the things once you find them, right? So like once you find all these cool things that the Numenorians have, they have this super awesome island, right? They don't want to die. And that's understandable and they also have longer lifespans, which makes it kind of like even worse, right? So I don't know. They're making out the Numenorians to be way more evil than they should be in intent. Like, it should have been like they had some resentment toward death, and Sauron came over and totally turned that into let's kill the Valar and take over immortality.
Well,
It wasn't that way to begin with. They never thought of openly rebelling against the Valar until Sauron got over there. You know?
Well, and as far as we know, Sauron hasn't done shit, even though he was there already.
Are they even? That's another thing. Are they even going to bring Sauron back to
Like,
Numenor?
isn't he supposed to be in prison for a while and then he
Yeah.
like connives his way out?
Yeah, and becomes advisor to the king.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, none of that. Yeah, none of that like gray stuff comes through. It's very black and white, especially with his son. His son's like very much like
Oh
a
my
bad
god, Kemen.
character.
Yeah, Kemen. Yeah. Yeah, because, yeah, like the whole thing is like, I remember when we did the Assholes Throughout the Ages part, we said the real asshole behind part 2 of the Farazan episode was Gimil-Khad, his dad, remember? His dad was the one who brought him up in the ways of the Kingsmen. His mom was a faithful. And he corrupted this dude who was a mighty man and could have been super. Remember, people really liked him in the beginning when he was a
Yeah,
young
he was
man.
awesome. He was
He
even
was-
charitable.
He was super rich, good looking, right? He gave out money. People loved our Farazan when he was younger.
Well, good looking makes him a good person.
Yeah, exactly.
You're so
Yeah,
shallow.
so shallow. Yeah, as you can tell, I'm a very shallow person. Yeah.
We do. After this scene, though, we do finally get some Elendil. I know I was complaining about that.
Yes.
I don't know if it's the best Elendil content, but
It's not the greatest Elendil content because another thing that the show writers do is just fuck the Lords of Endunier. They totally took all that out. That Elendil's the leader of these faithful line of Elros, right? They totally took that out. Amandil's not in the show. Fuck that. Amandil's the one that's supposed to sail off, remember, and ask for forgiveness of the.
Well, we're not getting any of that.
Yeah, that's not. Amandil's not even in the goddamn show. Anarian's not in the goddamn show.
This-
And then they meantime bring in Arian, right? The worst made-up character in the show.
Yeah, the daughter.
The daughter of Elendil that doesn't exist in the
She's
text.
so far pretty black and white too.
She's very black and white, and I don't buy that any child of Elendil would grow up to be a Kingsman. That's so fucking weird that they would do that.
I do think she'll have a redemption arc at some point.
God, I don't want her to. I just
I
want her
don't.
to bye. Sink
This-
with the island.
This
Yeah, sink it.
scene also has like a very kind of, I don't know, weird. It's like the queen all of a sudden thinks that Pharazôn has like changed things.
Right. It's a That's So Raven moment. If you watch the show That's So Raven, you see an out of context clip of the future, and then you make bad conclusions based on that out of context clip. Right?
Yeah, because she's very wrong that Pharazôn's like the solution.
No. Yeah. So basically, you guys, I was so excited for the Numenor stuff when I heard about it.
And it looks cool.
It
Numenor
looks
is
cool.
beautiful.
Beautiful, right? I won't argue that, but honestly, I hate all of it. I hate all of this, and what I'm going to hear, I'm starting a campaign. #sink it. I think that they should just sink Numenor. I hate everything about it. I love Elendil, and I want Elendil to set up his kingdom in his kingdoms in Middle Earth, and I don't want to hear anything about Pharazôn or Muriel or anybody else over there.
Well, spoiler alert: it will sink at some point.
Right. Hopefully, but I'm just saying, sink it.
Get it over with.
Say it in the comments if you agree with me. #sink it. Sink this shit. I don't want to hear from Numenor anymore. You fucked it up. Move on.
And hold on, isn't Pelargir founded after the sinking of Numenor?
No, that's founded before. That's
is
one
founded
of
before?
That's so. There's a bunch of Numenorian things on the
Oh,
on
right,
the
'cause
coast.
they're supposed to be colonizing.
Yeah, they're colonizing the crown. So by the time
but good colonizing, right? They're not evil.
well, not at the time of Pharazôn. Well, the timeline's all fucked up.
I don't know if
Good
you can,
colonizing.
Can you say that? Can you?
Yeah, can you? I don't. Again, it's fantasy. You
It is
guys.
fantasy, yeah.
So yeah, they come as benevolent colonizers originally, but then by the time Pharazôn rolls around, they're tyrants, right?
Yeah.
But they still had Kingsman ports like Umbar, right? We learned about Umbar in a few episodes, and then Pelargir was a faithful port, right?
Ah, yes.
And then you had other ports like Lawn-Dire, and then you had like further up the river Tharbad, right? These are all Numenorian places that existed at this time that are just not mentioned in the show. It doesn't seem like Numenor. Did you get the drift that when the Numenorians came over at the end of season 1, it was the first time they'd ever been to Middle Earth?
Kind of.
I got that drift, right?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you get that drift?
A
Because that's
little.
total bullshit.
Well,
Because
they-
they've been coming over since Eldarion the Mariner, and I think he was crowned in like 400 Second Age. Like, what?
I mean, they haven't said a single year in the show so far. So
No, they shouldn't because
that's-
it's so fucked up.
Oh yeah, that's some dangerous
Yeah,
The
territory.
timeline is so
timeline's a
insane.
little-
The timeline is so insanely fucked up. I have a hard time explaining it to people.
I did kind of like the next scene with Elendil and Arian. I liked the like, "Oh, Captain, my Captain."
That was
like
cool
Dead
scene.
Poets Society.
Dead Poet Society, yeah, standing
where
on
they're
the
all
desks, yeah.
yes. I don't know. I still like the character
No,
of Elendil a
I
lot.
like
the actor's
Elendil.
great.
Yeah, and honestly, best looking dude in the show, Elendil.
He just doesn't have the best content. to
No,
work
his
with.
the writers again fucking him.
He's
like-
so far just kind of a tragedy. Like one bad thing after another.
One bad thing after another. And also when he gives up his sword, right? In this episode.
Oh yeah, when they're stripping everybody of rank.
Yeah, which is I think the scene we're about to talk
That's the
about.
one we're
right?
talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, so he should have Narsil.
And he would never. He would
Oh, yeah,
never
that's
give that up,
right.
right?
He's Narsil is
He must
Elendil's
get
sword.
that later. At
That's
some
supposed to
point.
be an heirloom of his family.
They're not. They're. I'm sure they're gonna bring it up in some way.
Who the fuck knows? I don't know. They fucked the Dunedain so hard in this show that I don't know if they're even going to bring in Narsil. Who knows? Ugh.
And then
I hate it
after
all.
that,
Sink it.
we
#sink it. #sink it.
we get like a very short scene of Pharazôn using the Palantir.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he he doesn't actually touch it though,
Is it
right?
implied
It's
that
kind of
he's-
implied, right?
Yeah.
He's just looking at it very seductively.
Hypocrite.
This is another thing we're not really sure about. We were talking about on the Discord recently, how the Palantir work in the show versus how they did in the text.
Right.
Because before Sauron got a hold of the Minas Ithil stone, it pretty much just was a communication device. And if you were strong enough of mind and will, you could communicate with the other stones and see what they saw, blah blah blah, share thoughts, stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Instead, it's like it kind of does what more like the Mirror of Galadriel should do, and show you like random bits of out of context future. That's so Raven again. Type
Yeah.
of shit.
Yeah. It's definitely weird. Like the Queen is seeing Numenor being toppled by, the sinking that we know is going to happen, but then like
Yeah, I don't know if Palantirs show you the future. Like, I don't think they do.
In this show, they do.
In this show, they do, I guess.
in this show they serve no other purpose.
Well, right, because it's Dunedain stuff, so who cares? Fuck it.
Maybe, here's a weird side thing, maybe Farazan gets corrupted through the Palantir by Sauron. Maybe.
But Sauron doesn't have a hold of one yet.
I know, but
I mean,
it's Rings of Power.
It's Rings of Power, right? Mithril's in the tree, or whatever. Like,
Silmarils and Mithril.
Silmaril in the Mithril.
This, I think, I kind of liked. I mean, I liked all the Anatar and Celebrimbor stuff.
Cool.
This
Yeah.
next scene is when he does he writes the letter to Gil-galad.
Gil-galad, yep.
Gil-galad. I feel like this is really when he's just the noose is closed and Sauron has him when he lies to.
Yep, when he makes him betray his friends, basically. Yeah.
Well, this is Gil-galad getting the letter from him, right?
Yeah, I think,
He's
and
getting,
then they
he's
also
getting he's getting Celebrimbor's letter,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they're
Mhm.
discussing where they need to send their troops. And his Gil-galad's military commander basically accuses him of letting the ring guide his decisions,
Yep.
which is just I guess another small corruption we're seeing.
Right. Again, yeah. The way that they portray the rings is like, are they corrupting? Are they not? It's like it's a dumb play because like they're not corrupt. Sauron's taint was not upon them, right?
Yeah, the elf rings shouldn't corrupt them because there's no evil in them, and the dwarf rings shouldn't corrupt the dwarfs because the dwarfs are immune to that shit.
Right. Yeah.
So
the show does really love its like will they, won't they,
Will they, won't they
moments. There's a
bullshit.
lot of that in season 1. I feel like not as much in season 2, but there's definitely still chunks in this season.
Yeah.
it's in this next scene that we get Durin and Disa back in the markets.
Mm-hmm.
And they're shopping around, and she wants to buy this tuning stone, she calls it. It's like
Yeah.
a big circular rock orb thing.
Yeah.
And this is where we learn about the 100% tax rate
Right.
that Durin's imposed on the dwarves.
We were
Yes.
so appalled when
We were
I mean,
appalled.
would dwarves riot over
Bro,
that?
I think any civilized society would do that. Like,
Can you imagine in France?
oh my god, just in anywhere today. Like, if you did 100% tax, the bourgeois of that country would throw your ass out so fucking fast. Are you kidding me? They would overthrow that state. 100% tax.
And the dwarves, I feel like definitely wouldn't take that shit.
The American
But-
Revolution was fought for less than that. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Well, she haggles the price down and takes it and drops it, and we have this typical comedic scene of it rolling through a crowd, and she's like, "Oh, there it goes! Oh, you stepped on it!" Blah blah blah. And it
Yep.
rolls into a cave that's just off the walking path that is
Yeah.
clearly visible.
Super and well lit too.
Yeah, and she walks in there it's the first time anyone's been in there.
Yeah. Oh, nobody's on her phone. And then she kind of does a sing thing.
Yeah, she does. Yeah. What's the first thing you do when you walk into a new hallway that no one's been into? Yell really loud.
Sing.
I think she was stone singing to try to find the orb.
That's what Joe
maybe it was
thinks, yeah.
maybe it was too dark for her to see it.
Yeah, maybe it was implied darkness. I don't know.
But they're teasing the Balrog so much. I'm
So
like,
much.
let's
Just
just
let
start
it-
digging.
let
Start
it
digging. Let's get the Balrog.
Too greedy.
I
Too
mean, for all
deep.
we know, it could be the Watcher in the water, though.
Yeah, a lot of people think it
Oh,
could be the
true.
Watcher in the water.
Definitely
yeah.
an either.
I like
or.
how our themes are sink it and dig deeper.
Yeah, dig. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, it's funny. Do you think that Disa doesn't like? So Disa doesn't like the ring of power that Durin uses.
She almost
Um,
feels like it's cheating.
She feels like it's cheating. I think. Do you think she just doesn't like it because it makes her obsolete? It puts her out of a job.
So it kind of
I
reminded
think
me.
that's it.
It reminded me a little bit of the AI thing,
Yeah.
where it's like he's just cheating, doing this, so easily. Whereas I assume stone singing is like a craft that you hone over years.
Well, I also feel like, and all jokes aside, that was obviously a lot of that was facetious. But I, I think that stone singing is probably more renewable and less invasive to the mountain than the whole
Yeah, that's
using,
true.
because they respect the earth and stuff like that. That's what I guess. But Durin's straight up an extortionist. That becomes a thing as well, right?
Oh yeah. This I think it's this very next scene, right?
Yep.
He's invited a bunch of messengers, I believe, of the other dwarf kingdoms to come and offer them these rings. He says he'll give them power over Earth, and and then he's like, but it'll come with a price.
Yeah, what's the price?
And we don't learn it in this scene, but later we learn it, and it's for half a share of their hoards.
Yeah,
like of whatever they find, they have to
Obscene.
give them.
Obscene amount of.
Is this? Do you think this is comparable to dragon level of greedy? Like, would this be what Smog would do?
This is like some mafioso shit. Like, this is some old school.
I guess
mafioso.
dragons just take it all.
Dragons,
Yeah.
well, dragons have like a psychic like link to their hoard. Like they know every single
true.
piece of
Yeah.
treasure, and if
We
like
learned
even a
that.
tiny coin goes missing, they know. So yeah, dragons are definitely worse, but this is close and they're closer than anything else.
It's
Really,
very dragony.
I also love after like the messengers leave, Narvi and him are like talking, and he's like, "What asshole put all these restrictions in here?"
I love that. Yeah.
And Narvi's like, "You did,
You did.
you
Years
did,
ago."
sir."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Ignore them, dig."
Yeah, get rid of them.
well, is this the same scene where he learns he like looks at his hand and he's not wearing the ring,
Yes.
Yeah.
and he like he seems like he's gonna blame Narvi for it. And he's like, "No, you took it off. And
You
said your hand felt heavy."
Yeah.
And he's just like, "Yeah, it did." And like that's like even more One Ring style corruption,
Right.
if you
Which
ask me.
with the dwarven rings, there's no real evidence in the text that it would have done something like that. Yeah.
Right. It's so quickly too.
Right.
He's there. It seems like he's barely had it, maybe a week at this point. I mean, we don't
Mhm.
really know timelines, but I'll be generous.
Right. Who the fuck knows?
They really need a dwarf
They don't.
union.
Timelines aren't their strong suit in this
Yeah,
show.
no.
Well, should we get into this? What do we got next? Rings of Men, right? Should we get into that?
Oh yeah. It's Sauron's attempts at making the rings without Celebrimbor.
Right.
Mhm.
Which what do we talk about? This was what do you call it? Weaponized incompetence.
Weaponized incompetent. Well, yeah, that's kind of the vibe. I kind of got the vibe that
He was
Anatar was
fucking up on purpose.
purposely kind of being sloppy and messing it up to kind of entice Celebrimbor, because he knows Celebrimbor is such a, like, he loves the art, and it's like if you see someone doing something wrong and
You're
they're
gonna-
creating art, you're going to be like, oh, hey, no, you should do this. That'll
Especially if it's with your tools and in your workshop.
yeah, and your students.
In your
and-
students. Yeah. So
Uh,
like exactly. Right?
I'd be willing to bet that even though he plays it off as him messing it up, it was 100% like you're saying, it was a test. This was this was his own science, and just being like, oh, I wonder what I can do, like what I can get away with before Celebrimbor's like, whoa, you got to stop doing that, dude.
Yeah, I mean, he totally made Celebrimbor double down and start helping him make the Rings of Men, right?
Yeah, that is eventually what it comes out to. And we see what effect his sort of like his test ring has, because Myrdania, is that her name?
Myrdania, I think,
Myrdania, yeah,
which I think
she's
means female jewelsmith. I think, yeah.
pretty direct, I guess.
I think is what it means. Yeah, because Gwathi Myrdane means the people of the jewelsmiths.
Yeah.
Myrdania, I believe, would mean.
Hey,
yeah.
I'd accept it.
I don't know.
She apparently has the ring on. She was trying to resize it, and it brings her into the unseen world.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks like something spooky is happening, because like tools are like lifting off of stuff, and Celebrimbor, I mean, he can apparently see her no problem, it seems, and just goes and lifts the ring off of her. But shouldn't all those elves be able to see her?
No, I don't think any of them could see her. I think Celebrimbor just realized what was happening first.
But I mean, like as far as like the unseen world stuff goes, I mean, elves, they should be able to see somewhat.
Well, no, Bilbo uses the ring to get away from elves in The Hobbit.
Does he really?
Yeah.
Because I thought.
So I don't. Yeah, elves can definitely. I don't think elves can see people wearing the ring.
I thought
no.
they. Okay. Well,
I think Maiar can, and Tom Bombadil can.
a Bombadil would be
fucker.
able to for
yeah,
sure.
fucking Bombadil.
I enjoyed how, like, fucked up what, like, just her description of, like, I think she said, like, breathing, reeking of death, pitiless and eternal, like, when she saw...
No.
Oh yeah,
good,
skin of
yeah.
flame, something like
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
Yeah, but surely she was seeing Sauron's.
And then fucking Anatar just, like, puts it all on Celebrimbor.
Like, that's because Celebrimbor's been in a bad mood lately. Yeah. No, I love that whole her describing the effect of the ring, because one of my favorite I remember from the text is like too often the Nazgul only beheld the phantoms and delusions of Sauron. So like it shows it shows you what Sauron wants you to see all the time, and you're crazy and in that mindset all the time. You're fucked up from it. Which I don't know. I just like that excerpt.
It's kind of a horrifying existence.
Yeah, totally.
In the middle of all this happening, too, this is when Durin comes over and is all like, what do you know about Anatar? Like, what do you really know about this guy?
I love that Durin is on to, and just like a dwarf, too, and Joel would be so proud, just like a dwarf to be on to Sauron right away.
I like
right
how
away.
it's just funny. It made it sound like Joel's dead. Joel would have been so proud if he could have seen this.
He would have been so proud.
No, I did love how he called him out on his shit right away.
Right away. Yeah, and it starts as these Eregion scenes unfold. It kind of seems like Sauron is trying to just totally usurp Celebrimbor, even from his students.
This is when he has that kind of weird with Myrdania, where he's
Myrdania.
like, "You look like Lady Galadriel in this light."
And he like
and
brushes her
line.
hair all creepily.
That was real weird. I didn't know.
I just think he'll tell you whatever you want to hear. Like I think he's so full of shit. Like
Yeah.
I don't think he's into this woman. I think he's just
I don't think he's into any woman or man
I
for
think
that
he's
matter.
into himself.
My grandma used to say, "They're so full of shit. Their eyes are brown." I was like,
Yeah.
Grandma sounds like a funny person.
she was, yes. Let's see. The next scene.
I kind of like this scene.
This scene was cool. Because there's some fighting and some little revenge here. And this is Elendil gets slapped to the ground, right? He gets in this scene, right?
Oh yeah, because they're having like a little send off ceremony,
Right. They're
for presumably Isildur and other people that they died in the
Right.
war.
Yeah.
they're in some sort of temple. We think it might be to Lady Oinen, perhaps.
Perhaps
It's
it's definitely a sacred place for the faithful.
for the faithful, people that worship the Valar, and that Kemen dude,
He's
the
a
Pharazon's
Nepo baby
son,
dude.
the Nepo baby, evil Nepo baby. He breaks the statue of what I think is Lady Oinen, and it causes a big problem.
Yeah. What is it? Is it Elendil? Just like swings at him,
Mm.
right? And then it gets into a fight between Kemen and Valandil.
Valandil, yep, and
And,
Valandil bests him.
Whoa.
Yeah. In the end.
For a minute though, he's drowning.
Oh yeah.
He does start off getting drowned.
I didn't once believe that could have happened.
know-
I mean, if you look at the size between those guys, there's no way.
Yeah,
But yeah, Valandil does he like breaks his shoulder or something, and Kemen's sitting there like all weak, and he's got the sword to him, and Elendil's like, no, don't do it, don't kill
Yeah.
him. And I mean, I knew this was going to happen as soon as he said that. Valandil walks away and gets stabbed in the back.
right. Which dramatic, but I realized as I was watching it, isn't that the end of Romeo and Juliet, right? With Tybalt and is it Mercutio and
It's been so long.
the Romeo sticks out his hand to stop the fight, and then it stops. Like his homie says he's gonna stop, but then Tybalt stabs underneath Romeo's arm. Remember that? And kills Romeo's like cousin or something. It's been a while since I read it too, but obviously not an original story idea. Joel likes to point those out. I know Joel's not here, but he likes to point out when the show.
It definitely was telegraphed pretty easily. Like if you've seen any TV,
I did put in my notes. I wish
I love.
I wish Isildur was what Valandil was.
100%.
'Cause
Valandil is.
he's cool. He stands up. He's like very clearly like firmly is faithful. Believes
Yes.
in. I don't know. Isildur. I just don't have a clear.
I don't like.
I don't have a
really,
clear character profile on him.
No, it's like he's off in Middle Earth, like more concerned with like finding a girlfriend than he is
get
getting
back
home.
get back to Numenor and help
I
out. Do something.
Yeah, do something, dude. Like I don't know what he's.
I mean, he doesn't want to be in Numenor, guys. We knew this from the
right.
beginning of the show, but
they pick on him there.
because they pick on him there, and he's not a true
Isildur's
Numenorian.
bullied. Are you shitting me? Are you shitting me? Isildur, son of Elendil the Tall, is bullied in school. Is that the show? The show said.
Maybe they're jealous.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
After this one, we get some more Anatar and Celebrimbor goodness. I liked this too, where Celebrimbor asks him if he did anything to the Dwarven rings, because they're getting complaints that like they were altered.
Oh yeah,
because
because Durin said that in his visit earlier.
Yeah,
like,
right.
He
He's like,
explained
hey,
King Durin's
his
corruption,
behavior,
and
yeah.
And Anatar like almost has like a little smirk on his face, and he's like, "No, like well, I can't believe you would."
it wasn't I, but we.
But we did it.
Yeah, because because Celebrimbor brought deceit into the process with his letter.
It wasn't us. It wasn't you. It was us, comrade. Yeah, like,
That seems like such a small thing. Like, how could you possibly believe that would corrupt rings like your art so badly?
Yeah.
Just the tiny little deceit. Like everybody lies, dude.
This is kind of getting into just Celebrimbor's art, and like I don't know. It was really interesting because he says that if he comes clean and comes out that he lied,
they'll never let me do art
they'll
again.
never let me do art again. And it's not like he's a man where it's like, oh, well, the 10 years of my life that I've left, I got to just sit around. And it's eternity. He can't make art for eternity.
Doing the one thing you love. I mean, Celebrimbor, let's not forget, guys, I mean, like, little context for this here, is the grandson of Feanor. Like, the maker of the Silmarils, you guys. So like
that's a lot
Celebrimbor,
of pressure to like
that's a
live
lot
up
of pressure
to.
to live up to. Yeah, and not only that, this is how you know Celebrimbor's dope, is that Celebrimbor was living in Nargothrond when his father Caligorm was kicked out by Finrod's people after setting Finrod up to be killed. He was like, no, my dad sucks. I'm staying here with you guys, and he just stayed in Nargothrond for the rest of the first age while his dad had to get the fuck out. Yeah, like he's cool to the point where even his own dad is like, no, that I don't like that Feanorian shit. You guys suck. Stop doing that.
But there's a scene I can't remember if it's this scene, but Celebrimbor kind of like goes off on his own and is like kind of shaking and trembling, and I don't know. I just like how he's kind of grappling with his
my heart goes out to Celebrimbor
legacy, and I don't know. It's one of the times where I've thought maybe it is good that like maybe the Valar were right and death is a gift, because like it can't be easy to live forever.
Yeah, especially when you're deprived of something, right?
Yeah, especially deprived of what you love.
Of what you love.
I don't know. I really like that storyline.
See, Joe's a sensitive guy, you guys.
I'm a Cancer. What? It's true. Cancers are sensitive.
I know. It's just I've known you for 30 years almost. I've never heard you bring up astrology.
Well, you don't know me at all.
You're clearly dating right now.
Okay.
Anyway, I feel like the rest of the show goes by pretty quickly for this episode.
Yeah, it totally does.
Like the next scene, we've got between the Durins, young Durin's trying to tell old Durin that Ringbad, and instead of convincing him, he just becomes prince again. He's reinstated.
And, yep.
I did like Disa being super disappointed in him and then making him swear that he'd never wear a ring.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
Yep.
I still love their storyline.
Yeah, still love that. And then we'll
cut back to Celebrimbor.
Cut back to Celebrimbor, and he's going on a power trip.
Oh yeah, he's tripping hard.
Well, because he's bought this whole line that he can redeem himself through the Nine.
Yeah,
well,
right?
He's so trapped now. Like
he
kind of just has. I mean, he doesn't have to, but in his mind, he's like, I have to just plow ahead.
Rock in a hard place. Yeah.
Oh, and he threatens that all of his smiths will lose their jobs if they fail. Which I mean, because he's like, if I'm going down, you're going down with me.
And then I love how Anatar's like, wow, guys. After Celebrimbor leaves, he's like, wow, guys, he's really feeling the pressure. We just gotta. Like,
I know you won't let him down.
He's such
and
a
you
manipulative
won't let me
ass.
down either.
I love it though. I love Charlie Vickers is really good.
He is really good. Yeah, he's much better, and I like him much better in this season than I did his past Halbrand character. Right. Halbrand was just such a horseshit character. I hated that storyline. I'm glad that we got fucking Sauron back, right? You guys happy Sauron's back?
I mean, he's Anatar right now. I want to see.
But he's Sauron.
I like him a lot better in this season.
Yes,
I'm loving his plottingness and his little dastardly.
Doing what Sauron should do, not hiding on a raft or what.
Something I don't love though is they keep dragging out this. It ends with the orcs converging on Eregion.
Right? Yeah, they're like
kind of is how the
within
last
sight.
episode ended.
They ended the last two episodes the same way. I don't know if they realized that.
Pretty close.
Should somebody tell them?
The
last scene of both episodes is almost exactly the same.
Almost exactly the same. Yeah, we get after we see the orcs looking at Eregion for like 20 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
We get Elrond makes it back to Lindon and requests aid for Eregion, being like, you can't go to Mordor. And Gil-galad's like, well, we can't do that. and they he kind of alludes to them needing more help. So like maybe
Numenor. Yeah.
maybe they'll get Numenor,
Yeah.
which would be dumb. But okay, we'll move on.
It would be real
and
dumb
then,
because they were supposed to do that under Tar Minister
Yeah,
before this Farazan bullshit. But yeah, that was like 1,000 years before this. But whatever.
And
It's-
then we
it's a
get
weird mix-up.
another.
It's fuck it. It's Dune Knight
It
shit. Who
ends
cares?
again with Adar and Galadriel.
Yeah, Adar wants Galadriel as an ally. That's
Mhm.
what the big reveal was. We had to
Oh,
cut
yeah.
back to
We
them
get
for this
no-
one scene.
we get no Galadriel through this whole episode,
None.
and then the
And
end of
just
it
a
is like
little
almost
teaser.
the same as the last one.
Yeah, it's so fucking weird. I
It's-
felt like I didn't necessarily hate this episode, even though I hated. It seems like I hated a lot of it.
Well, yeah. Do you want to? Should we go around quick and? give
Yeah,
our,
so that's the end of the. Yeah, we're getting to the end here, guys. Let's. Trev, what final thoughts?
This one wasn't as bad as the last one, but it's there's still not enough. It feels shallow, and I'm unhappy.
Okay, that's pretty concise. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. I would say I didn't like. I made this joke earlier. Much like myself, there are parts of this show that I hated a lot. But no. And parts that were fine. But the Numenor stuff is just so bad, you guys. It's just so. As a Dunedain head, and a member of the Dunedain head community, I just like shake my head in shame for what has been done, starting with the Peter Jackson trilogy and continuing on to this day. And I feel like it's sad that we can't, even in fantasy, see ourselves as good. It's fucked, in my opinion. And sink it.
Hashtag sink it.
Hashtag sink it.
and dig deeper. Get to that Balrog.
Dig.
No, I liked this episode pretty much just for the Anatar Celebrimbor stuff. I'm really loving that part of the show. I like Decent Durin. I think the narrative needs to progress more,
Yep.
quicker. And yeah, after hearing you guys talk about the Numenorian stuff, I get why. Yeah,
Why we
I'm
fucking hate
Team
it?
Sink It too. I'm Team Sink It.
Sink it. Let's go. Trev, what do you say? Sink it?
Sink it.
Sink it. If Joel were here, he'd be saying it too.
He
Hashtag.
did say it before.
He
yeah.
did on the last.
He also
He
wants to
did.
sink it.
This is the third time we've done this recording. Again, if you're hearing this, so he did say hashtag
Big
sink
if.
it. Yeah, big if. But yes, he did say hashtag sink it. Yes, guys. I think that's all.
Yeah, that's all.
Episode
all
5
I can
wrapped
take.
up. That's all I can take. I'm angry about the Dune stuff, obviously. I am Danny J. We are Keep On Tolkien Podcast. If you don't know who we are, check us out at keepontolkien.com. That's a hub for everything, all our social media, all of our merch, everything, right?
Discord, socials.
Yeah,
Just
join
come
the-
hang out with us.
Join the Discord. If you want to talk about these reacts or any other content that we do, join the Discord.
Yeah, we've got places you can ask questions to each of us or the whole group. You can even suggest topics, and maybe we'll write an episode about it.
Yeah, it's a super tailored experience to the KoT fan.
Yes.
The Discord. Check it
Yes.
out.
Swing by.
But yes, I am Danny J.
I'm Trevor D.
I'm Joe Vasky.
And I'm Joel Lynn. And together we are
Keep on Tolkien.
I'm going to say it as Joel. Oran Tulava.
He's not dead. He's alive.
He's fine. He's camping.